everyone, it is Wednesday the 13th of January and today we are going to write a weather report to compare the weather in England and Trinidad. So, weather as a title. What is the weather in England normally like throughout the year? So have a think about what it's like at the beginning of the year, what it's like around summertime when you are off school, and then what it is like at the end of the year. So have a few minutes to brainstorm what you think the weather is normally like. Okay, so you've probably said things like it is quite often rainy, it's cold, you might get a bit of snow around January, February, December sort of time, and then it does gradually get hotter as the year goes on. Normally still quite rainy, but then hotter in sort of June, July and September. So we're going to do a quick little activity here. I want you to jot down your answers to these questions. So how do you feel when the weather is sunny, rainy, windy and snowy? So I want you to just have a few minutes and think about and write down how you feel when the weather is each of these different things. How does the weather make you feel? So it'll be interesting to know whether you are happier when it is sunny, whether you're excited when it snows, whether you feel a little bit miserable when it is rainy. And I know I sometimes feel a little bit stressed when it gets windy. I think it's all of the energy in the air. And see whether you have any of the same opinions. So this is a quote from the main Coming to England book. There were usually two kinds of weather on our tropical island. So how do you think that the weather in Trinidad might have been different from the weather that we get in England? And why do you think that? So again, have a few minutes, pause it. You can either talk about it or write down your thoughts. So, the climate in Trinidad is a tropical climate and it is hot all year round. So whereas in England we get hotter and colder as the year goes on and we go through the seasons, in Trinidad it is hot all year round. There is a rainy season that runs from June to December and a dry season from January to April. So I want you to have a think, is this similar or different to the weather that we get in England? Is it similar to our weather or is it a bit different from our weather? So I've put on the board here the two weather forecasts for the upcoming weeks. The top one is for Bayford and the bottom one is for Trinidad. So I want you to have a little look and compare these two. So obviously on Wednesday the 13th, apparently we are due to get some snow. That is today. So is it snowing? I mean, it's probably not snowing. It's snow, rain, and it looks a bit cold. If you look at the change in temperatures between ours and Trinidad's, even though they've got clouds, it is 30 degrees, and in England it is 6 degrees. So it is an awful lot hotter. We've got loads of 5. They got loads of 21, I know, which I would prefer. So on the website, I have put a link to the video forecast from the BBC for today. So I want you to have a watch of today's weather report and note down some of the different vocabulary, some of the different words that he uses to describe the weather today. So have a listen and note down some of the words that he uses to describe the weather. So today's activities. 1 star, I want you to predict the weather for the next 4 days in England and in Trinidad. So obviously I've put what the BBC says they think it's going to be, but you might have a different opinion. I want you to follow the sentence format. So on Thursday, I think the weather in England will be, and tell me what you think. On Thursday, I think the weather in Trinidad will be, and then do me Friday, Saturday and Sunday. 2 star, I want you to compare the weather over the next week by looking at both of the forecasts. So I want you to look at both Wednesdays, the Wednesday in England and the Wednesday in Trinidad, and write me a sentence to compare them and do so for each of those 5 days. 3 star, I want you to write me some weather reports. So I want you to write me 2 weather reports, one for England for the next 5 days, and one for Trinidad. So try and use some descriptive words and some conjunctions. I know I tell you all the time. So, for example, I have put, this was before I looked at the weather, it is raining, but it will still be very hot, so make sure to take an umbrella. Obviously, that doesn't fit with any of our weather, so do not copy that sentence. Come up with some of your own. So, 2 detailed weather reports. And if you wanted to, as a challenge, you might film your weather reports as if you were a weatherman or weatherwoman, weather person. Right. I would love to see some of them if you do that.